And after Mumbai, let's hop across to Chennai, down south, and see what questions they ask from the Union Commerce Minister. Over to Chennai.
It was very encouraging and inspiring to listen to your answers previously, but I'm restricting it to the inadequate infrastructure, which has been cited as one of the constraints to industrial growth. What steps are being taken to develop and establish industrial clusters with modern infrastructure so that we are not at any disadvantage to competition both within our country and outside of our country?
So, Honourable Minister, we touched upon this subject. Would you like to add more as to how do we make more industrial clusters, and do you think that's the best approach? Because even in the finance budget this time, Honourable Finance Minister said that to boost agriculture, we will have cluster-based development in agriculture just like agriculture. So just like in agriculture, we are also looking at cluster development. So more boost to industrial clusters?
You know, you're absolutely right. And I just mentioned that to my other friend from Mumbai, how we are working on a cluster approach, which is absolutely right. And to take that idea forward, in fact, there are quite a few clusters which are planned. If you want, I can give the list, but if the time is not permitting, I'll just tell you something very interesting. Like industry, we are also coming out with a policy for agriculture export.
Okay.
And doubling farmers' income can happen when we have agriculture exports as a strategy. Because when the production, agriculture production goes up, and it doubles, for example, the prices come down because of the excess production cannot be absorbed in a domestic market at a given point of time. And also knowing the fact that agriculture production by definition is something which is perishable. So it cannot last long and we don't have so much of processing capacity or a warehousing capacity. So we have to export it. So export, to make sure that we export it properly, we are also thinking about a cluster approach.
Okay.
As to some states, we can have the kind of vegetables or fruits or other agriculture products can be exported. We can actually locate it there. It can be airlifted because some of these needs the evacuation at a proper time. So therefore that is something which we are also working on. But agreeing with you that there is a need for both agriculture as well as export for manufacturing as cluster approach. But also I would add one more. It is services. You know, India's services will be rising at a rate faster than industry or agriculture. It is already 2/3 of India's economy. And even if $5 trillion economy, though we are trying to take manufacturing to $1 trillion, even 3 times of that, $3 trillion will be the services. And services export is rising globally at a rate faster than merchandise export anyway. So what is necessary is also cluster approach for services. Why cannot we have only the agriculture and manufacturing? This is something which I am proposing, which we have to work on it with a lot of states and other stakeholders.
Yes.
But services also should be driven by the cluster approach because so many common facilities can be provided. I will tell you the advantage of cluster approach. And something which, because you are in Chennai, I will tell you something which is closer to you. I was the environment minister in 1998. We proposed an idea of common effluent treatment plant. And in Tirupur, we actually set up one. Because Tirupur is one of the largest exporters of knitted garments, knitted wear. Why not we have facilities? Same thing we have proposed in 2,600 crore package that we have given for leather industry, which Prime Minister kindly agreed and approved. That was launched in Chennai only about 10 days back. I was in Chennai for the leather fair where we launched it. There again we have proposed a common effluent treatment plant strategy. There again we have proposed the cluster approach. So you are absolutely right. Cluster is something which is necessary. We will work on that for all three: manufacturing, agriculture, services.
Right. I think that is very innovative, that not only cluster approach in industry but also agriculture plus cluster approach in services is also being envisaged. Let's go back to my colleague Gopal Krishna Raju to the intellectual capital Chennai for more questions.
Sir, given the wave of new technologies, the artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, etc., now how is the industrial policy 2017 going to help industrialists meet the challenge of adopting these new technologies on the one hand, while at the same time create more meaningful employment opportunities for the youth in this country?
Honorable Minister, technology, ABCD has changed. A for artificial intelligence, B for blockchain, C for cybersecurity, D for data analytics. Will the new industrial policy take care of these technological wave?
You are absolutely right. Let me tell you something very interesting. The company globally, not in India alone, the first company which will touch $1 trillion market cap mark is the company which was born only 2 decades ago. The companies which have been more than 100 years old could not even reach maybe half of that mark. What is the reason? That means the new technology is the one which drove that companies to touch that mark. You will not be surprised what happened in the last 2 decades will happen in 1 decade now. Because of the new technology that will come and actually create that $1 trillion opportunity even in a 10 years time. And maybe after a few years, 5 years time it might happen. So you are 100% right. We have to think about the technology in advance and prepare our own industry, our own economy to take advantage of that situation. And to make that, we identified few sectors. Again, I am saying we are consulting experts globally. This is something which we already started doing. We already set up an artificial intelligence task force. But there are certain areas like electric storage. If you are seeing that fossil fuels, life is limited. After some time, we will not see a fossil fuel at all, also because of climate change. So therefore, energy storage will be a very big issue on which there will have to be investment. We'll have to do on advanced robotics and automation equipment. Medical devices. Because people will be longer, people will like to live a healthy life, will have more income to spend. Somebody will not as old as me, but somebody as young as Mr. Chaturvedi, my additional secretary, may like to say that he likes to look better, so he may like to use some medical devices. Pharma, including active pharmaceutical ingredients, genomics, and biotechnology. I will tell you the future is predictive medicine. The future is not curative. The future is predictive medicine, how the genes travel. So genomics is going to be the future. So therefore we have to focus on that. And biotechnology, unmanned aerial vehicles, chemical feedstock, advanced materials. Materials globally are very limited. So material is going to be the limiting factor for growth of world tomorrow. So we'll have to think about advanced materials, something which we'll have to think about. Even in today, the cement industry was coming and telling me the other day that we have problem because we don't get a type of stone to crush it so that the cement can be made. I said think about different things because they are not going to last for long. And therefore advanced material, this is a very normal material. I am talking about advanced material, rare material. So these are the few sectors on which we must invest today. Find out, and therefore we will be partners of the industry. We'll make sure that we create institutions which can create these new technologies, which ultimately will be used by my friends in the industry, and we should try to make money. We'll be happy that we are making money. So our approach will be that you do business, then what is my business as a minister? Is to make you, allow you to do business in my business. That's only business. So therefore we'll help you to develop technologies, we'll work with you, allow you to do business, and that's what we are doing.
Right. Well, profit, they say, is not a bad word. Profiteering is, and industry really needs to match the pace of the technological innovations that are coming. Like the Honorable Minister Suresh Prabhu said, no longer it's about curative medicine, not even preventive, but predictive medicine, and that is where genomics and artificial intelligence can come so very handy for diagnosis. Back to Chennai, and can I request you to ask your questions quickly for want of time?
Mr. N.V. Venkata Subramaniam, L&T Wars, please ask your question.
Thank you, Minister. Compliments to you and your government for presenting a very proactive budget. My question is availability of the land, which is an important resource for the major projects, whether it is in private sector or PPP projects. There's always a bottleneck. What steps we need to take in this new policy to make sure that adequate lands are provided at a reasonable price and clear titles for the industry so that they can expeditiously set up the industry in India?
Honorable Minister, availability of land. Will the process be eased there? Availability of land.
See, this is a very important issue. We have only 2.2% of the land of the world and only 4% of the fresh water of the world. And these are the two natural resources which cannot be expanded with increasing population. They will be under pressure. So we have to find a solution to this. There are some very good examples to your neighbor. Because you are in Tamil Nadu, your neighbor Andhra Pradesh has done something phenomenal in which Amravati, which is a new capital that is getting developed, the model they have developed for land is something very interesting. That they got land from the farmers or from the landowners and they returned the land, 20% of that fully developed. So therefore, both are happy. So we have to develop certain win-win situations. But you are absolutely right Land is a limiting factor and we must plan around those. In fact, this is a very important thing. It's any economic activity. If it is not taking into account the natural resources, which are the limited resources, and plan around it.